All right, today I'm going to show you how we smoked this pork tenderloin for our family in an electric smoker. Show you step by step from start to finish how it works, and this is what you get. Let's get started. All right, welcome to my channel and to this video. Let me walk over here and get the electric smoker ready. I bought this the early part of the pandemic, like many people did, stuck at home. Hey, let's investigate smoker. And so here we go. Let me get everything out. I love this little electric smoker. It's not a top of the line at all. I think when all said and done, it's, a couple $100 or so. And I store everything on the back porch in this waterproof kind of ottoman. And then my extension cord is kind of hanging out over there in the corner. So we'll get that all hooked up, get it booted up, because that's kind of the first step here, is getting things warmed up, right? So I basically take my wood chips, fill it up, and go ahead and get things on maximum heat. Now, here's what we're going to need for this recipe. And I'm going to put all the lists down below in the description. So if this video goes too fast for you, you can pop down there and check that out. But obviously we have the pork tenderloin here. I picked this up at the store. It's a pretty affordable cut of meat, and it has two separate pieces. And for the purpose of this video, we're going to be making two different mini recipes, if you will, and kind of doing a taste test. And I'll give you some tips along the way. So we're going to melt some butter as one of the first steps here. Exact measurements, again, down in the description below. The beauty of this is that things don't have to really be precise. What I'm pouring in here into the melted butter is some allspice dry rub, basically. And there's lots of different brands out there, so pick yourself up some dry rub seasoning. And I'm putting a big scoop, it's like a tablespoon or so of each, again, into 2 different cups of butter. We're going to be preparing one way and the other slightly different with a different type of barbecue sauce, which you'll see here in a second. Here's our first sample. This is a buffalo barbecue sauce from the state of Wyoming. We picked this up, I don't know, a year or so ago on a road trip. And this is a little more flavorful, I would say, a little more higher end, perhaps. And so we're going to pop that into the melted butter and to the dry rub seasoning. And that'll be on the left. Note the color of it so you can kind of keep track, and I'll help you along the way, deciding which one is which. Obviously, you're going to be preparing this with you probably don't have some the exact barbecue sauce at home here, but nonetheless, you can see this one is a sweeter one, a more generic one you can buy, cheaply at the store. And so maybe you have something like that laying around. So we're going to stir that up nice and well. And pretty self-explanatory. We'll speed this up a little bit. Again, get it nice and stirred. And notice the utensil that I'm using here. We've got a little rubber brush to basically rub on or brush on the rub. And we're going to coat that liberally, basically all sides. So the sweet barbecue sauce mix, we're going on the top pork tenderloin. And we're actually going to flip that over as well and just coat all sides liberally, like I said. And then the buffalo sauce, it's not buffalo sauce, but buffalo barbecue sauce is what it's called technically. We'll go on this bottom pork tenderloin. Again, coating liberally the top, all surfaces, sides, underneath, etc. The more the better, I think. And we're going to be cooking directly into this glass baking pan. Now I've got some apple cider vinegar because we're going to be using this as kind of the steam in the electric smoker. Your electric smoker probably has a little space here for not the wood chips, that's different, but a place where you can put some liquid. In my case, I like to do apple cider vinegar. Little yellow mustard. Open that up. And we'll basically, again, no exact measurements. You can check the description below for what I would recommend, but you can see here I'm just kind of squeezing it in there. And we're going to do a little bit of the sweet barbecue sauce. Again, we'll squeeze some of that in there. And some of that dry rub seasoning that we applied to the pork tenderloin. And we're going to top it off with a little bit of water, because if you're cooking too hot, that will evaporate faster, right? So we're going to top that off with a little water and then stir it up really well. And again, this will not come into contact with the food. Only the vapors from the steam and the smoke that's generated will help to infuse flavor into the food, right? That's the idea. All right. Actually, we're going to transfer the pork tenderloins to, everything's hot here. We're going to transfer the pork tenderloins to a cookie sheet with some foil on it. That's going to help with cleanup a little later, not into the glass baking pan. So the glass baking pan that you saw earlier was just for prep. And now it's time to put the wood chips and the liquid into the electric smoker like this. And we are piping hot here. It has been, as I was preparing the meat there that you saw, this thing has been rolling. So it is adequately warm, and we'll slide that in there, the meat in there like that. And depending on your electric smoker model, mine is a bit temperamental. If I seal it up tight and I have it on high heat, basically, that thermostat will go all the way to 350. It'll be buried. By the way, it's 1:08 p.m. Take note of the time, and I'll put these lock features on so nothing rolls away. This is my homemade mobile unit, so I can wheel it around. Pretty neat, huh? Did a separate video on that. But basically, the temperature I'll talk about here more in a second. We don't want to get it too hot, so you want to kind of hang out. By the way, if you are using extension cord, you have to use the correct type of extension cord so that it doesn't melt, right? Your instruction manual should clearly note that. And don't forget to clean all surfaces while you wait. You may have contaminated with all that raw meat, your actual spice bottle or your handle for your faucet. Click that like button if this is your first time here. Subscribe to the channel. Would love to have you. Do lots of home projects and cool things around the house, product reviews, you name it. Anything saving you time and money is fair game. All right, so back to temperature. Note that my door is slightly cracked. I do want to see large amounts of smoke generating from that, but I don't want the temperature to exceed 250 degrees. So that's kind of my gauge here, what I'm going by. And if it gets too hot, I'll open the door a little bit more, but look at all that beautiful smoke. So I basically crank the temperature enough for those wood chips to start smoking, and then crack the door a little bit to keep the temperature down. And that's going to really create or prevent this idea that you can overcook your pork tenderloin. In my opinion, that's one of the worst things you can do to pork is dry it out, right? So 250, and we have the benefit of time on our hands. So we started at 1:08 p.m., you can see, and just kind of checking in here. The wood chips are indeed spent. And so I learned, do not pour wood chips directly onto anything except into water, because they are extremely hot and it could start a fire, right? I actually burned I burned the top of my outdoor breakfast table. You can see right there, that table. I had just thrown them down thinking, oh, nope, it actually burns. So directly into water it goes, and then I dispose of those once they are cool and safe. And of course, we're going to reapply, put more wood chips into the unit. And I had to do this a total of, 4 times. So I didn't go through a lot of wood, just, a couple of handfuls, about a handful and a half times 4 during this cook. So, and then of course we're going to reapply. We'll put some more rub, brush that on to the surface. That's optional, I suppose. And if you're wondering, we're going to be stopping around 145, 150 degrees as a minimum, right, for pork, according to our little readout there. And you can Google, what temperature should you cook pork to meet your specific preferences. That's always a good idea. And we're going to take various measurements, probably into the thickest part, right? You can see we're only about 135 or so here. So we're going to keep that in a little longer. Here we're good. Here we're probably pretty good. So I'm going to rotate that just in case there's some uneven heating happening inside the smoker. I don't think that's true, but we'll do it nonetheless. All right, we'll give it some more time, and then we'll come back to check it. And it looks like we're pretty much good, 145, 150 or higher. And there we go. Look at that. Beautiful dark color on the outside. a bit crusty almost. And we'll let that sit. It'll rest for 5 or 10 minutes or so, or even longer. Having the stuff cold, slicing it, is actually pretty good. You could make sandwiches or something with it. It doesn't have to be a warm dinner. And check out the finish time, about 4:40 p.m. So about 3 hours and 30 minutes is what this took at around 250 degrees. And we're going to be taste testing that. And of course you can't taste it, so sorry. That is not quite possible on a YouTube video, but look how thinly I'm cutting it. The sharper the knife, the better, so it doesn't actually smush. But basically a very, very thin slice is out of this world, I think. It's really, really flavorful. And go ahead and taste that there. You can see the color. It is, I think, beautifully done. Little humble brag there. Some final shots. Speed up the cutting process. So you can serve it hot like this or put it into a cold sandwich, like I said. Which one's better? I don't know. Pretty close. I like the sweet flavor of one. I like kind of the more deeper flavors that the other one provides, I guess. But we'll let family and any guests we have determine the winner. All right, I think this is a win. I'm very happy with this recipe. Simple, really fun. I've botched recipes like this before on the electric smoker. You think it's good, but it's not. But I think I found a winner here. I'm sticking with it, and hopefully this helps you out. Bon appetit.